I'm Johnny Young Bosch, and you're watching Wolf Thunder Ranger.
Alrighty, you've been waiting to hear my opinion on the characters of this game, but I thought I split this up from Infighters, All-Rounders, and Sharpshooters. The All-Round and Sharpshooters will come later, but so far this is what I actually do have for Infighter classes. So B is pretty much like, they're like, they didn't really like pan out to me, like, yeah, they're freaking godly for what they do. So pretty much Julia wasn't as great. I mean, nice slashes, decent stuff, but not enough to take on most of what I needed out of her. Normal Justice was not great either, to an extent, due to the fact that too heavy on range. Yeah, Anthron didn't really have enough melee items to really like keep it at 100, so that was a little bit of a problem for me. Dom is just awkward as hell when it comes to fighting. Like, damage is like just not there for him, and it sucks. Zagog, honestly, I put him in B. I mean, he's great in certain aspects, but you know, it's not as good as most of the other characters, most of the other Infighters that can do really solid stuff. But yeah, I mean, he was interesting at the end of the day, but it wasn't enough to actually bring him any higher on this list. The Goof, it's S when you play that EX stage. It's B when you play it, because his moveset's like not that great. It doesn't follow suit with the whole here's a chain, here's the sword stuff. So yeah, that's kind of why he's there. I know I have like Banshee and Crossbone. The reason for Crossbone is pretty much, I mean, he has nice melee, but like some of his range is a little off-putting for me, like not the greatest, especially how slow of a startup most of his range attacks are, kind of, especially his sub-weapon 2. Did not make me a fan to put him any higher than at a B. And Banshee, I mean, all it does is claw people. It's not that great. A couple of melee attacks, not too hot on the outside, so I definitely couldn't put him any higher. So pretty much B was just based off like really bad range and kind of sub weapons that weren't panning out for some of these boss fights that can keep you protected, stuff like that. So let's move on to the A. Sun Jihan, yes, very strong. A is like you can play them and you won't have such a bad time. Sun Jihan's really solid, especially melee fighter, heavy melee, especially physical when you give him physical parts. Very solid stuff. Vlad is very good. Very strong when it comes to melee. He's not as strong as Bales, but still can do some damage, especially with the Shoryuken. And sub-weapon 2 still deals pretty decent amount of damage. Infinite Justice is better than Normal Justice, duh. But Infinite Justice does have nicer melee combos. It does let you bring the opponent back for another melee combo loop. So you can do a couple hits, then pull them back to you and do some combos. Kai is actually pretty solid on a fun level to me. He does do some damage. He has some decent sub-weapons, but that's why he is A, because he actually has some good stuff here and there, but not as strong as like an S-Class where I feel like I can loot for days. Pretty much how I averaged out my Infighters in this tier list is like, who can give me the most satisfaction with a Marvel combo and do heavy-ass damage along with it? So that's how I kind of base this tier list off of. So that's why Exia Repair 2 is solid on melee, but it doesn't go Trans Am, and it doesn't let him get, so he doesn't get the nice attack boost that would have made him S tier, so he has to stay there. RJ Gundam is awkward to me because again, he is a character with range and melee, but he does decent still due to his heavy cut rates, which is his defense, so I appreciate him for that, mostly why he's in A. Barbados 6'4" is actually, believe it or not, a pretty solid character. Not bad for a base play if you're playing him as an Infighter. Boosts his melee more. Don't even worry about his range attack. Just go full melee. Oh, believe it or not, is an A. Actually, finally playing him for the first time without drop capital parts. He plays really, honestly solid, but definitely like average for a character. So next is the S-Class. Why are these guys your S tiers? Because they loop for days and have solid combo strings and can keep the flow of battle going. So Superior Dragon, I was waiting on him. He definitely made the S-Class list. Strong melee, strong range attacks. You can balance them out between 16 and 11. Make sure you have some percentage up on your physical range and percent up on your physical melee. That way you can really put in that damage work with those extra percentages towards your damage. Night Gundam stays the same at S-Class. Very strong melee combos, loops for days. Love him. Bale, same thing. Strong melee, good cuts. You can get up to 200, almost over 2,000, which is great. Most of these fighters can hit over 2,000 if need be and still do a hell of an amount of damage. Barbados Rex, yes, obviously those claws are godly. Combo strings are good. Epion, even though I put Epion S just because I did play him and he has a very good combo string when it comes to playing a melee fighter. So he actually had some pretty good stuff, especially when it came to his whipping. And that whipping could break bosses' barriers a little easy on mobile suits. Katsuki Mina, definitely maybe one of the stronger S tiers to me. She can loop without a chain burst so much. She just needs the boost gauge back up to its full potential. But she can loop without so much as doing the chain burst, which is great. But when you do chain burst, she is a god when it comes to melee combos. She catches herself after those 3 hits and a pushback. So it's amazing of a character. That's why she's an S. Double O Riser, very strong again. Trans Am, if you watch his level 90 video, he did some really good work. Really great damage, really good combo strings. Barbados Rex here, definitely solid. Again, it's phasing seeing both Rexes and the S's, but Rex is also a pretty solid character who can continue combos. Has a really good sub-weapon kit to really put in that damage. The Sinaju is just very freaking good. Sub-weapon kit and all. Really appreciate him for that. He is very strong when it comes to Infighters, so he's a great investment. Turn-X, very solid. Again, another good melee fighter. Good kit. Burning Fingers are always strong in damage output when they hit. You could balance them out with range, one range and a couple melees, but like I said, focus on the percentages on the physical melee or B melee, whatever melee he is, or whatever range attacks he is. So that way you get more bang for your buck if you bring him up to 900 in range and you're at a 1700 in melee, which will still be doing a hell of an amount of damage. And obviously the 2 G Gundams, there was no debate for me on these guys. They have great combo strings. They have pretty solid attacks, especially Domo's Twirl, Typhoon, and Master Gundam's Darkness Finger, and his little minion shot. But anyways, yeah, and those little minion shots actually, I believe, is a melee attack, so that's why you don't need to run range weapons on them, which is great. If you can avoid that, your melee fighters will hit, which is Infighters pretty much gimmick. It's supposed to be like very good on the melee and the comboing and stuff like that. So pretty much that's why these guys are rated in the S class, because that's actually where they belong. So that's why you only see a couple B's and a couple A's, because most of these characters that I did play and put them in S, I enjoyed them very well and felt like they had very strong potential on mobile suits in general. Obviously, mobile armor is a whole nother story, but some of them can take on mobile armors as well, because, you know, you HP them up, give them melee, etc., play the sharpshooter gimmick. So if I did that, I can still get the same results as S-Class for these characters. But yeah, this is my tier list. This is how I feel is right for where these Infighters are. This is pretty much based off heavy combos, who puts out the most damage with those heavy combos, who can continue a combo and keep the loop going, even with a chainmail, etc. Chain roll, or you know how it goes, combo chain breaker, whatever. I'm really just focused on doing combos and not reading the word when it comes up. But yeah, this is pretty much your tier list for Infighter, guys. Thanks for watching. Sorry this took a while. I just had to really play these characters thoroughly to really be like, you know what, I feel like this is where they belong. I honestly feel it in their combos. I feel it when they get the opponent in a loop. These are the characters that have really good weapons and sub-weapons to be where they're at on this list. So thanks for watching, guys. Y'all be good. Y'all stay safe. I'll see you all another time.